The Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. Many years ago there lived an emperor who thought so very much of grand new clothes that he spent all his money upon them that he might be very fine. He did not care about his soldiers. He did not care to see the play or to drive in the woods, except to show his new clothes. He had a coat for every hour of the day, and just as they say of a king, "He is in council," so they always said of him, "The emperor is in the clothes closet." In the great city in which he lived, it was always very merry. Every day came many strangers. One day 2 rogues came. They gave themselves out as weavers and said they knew how to weave the finest stuff anyone could fancy. Not only were their colors and patterns, they said, very beautiful, but the clothes made of the stuff had the wonderful quality that they could not be seen by anyone who was unfit for the office he held, or was too stupid for anything. "Those would be capital clothes," thought the emperor. "If I wore those, I would be able to find out what men in my emperor were not fit for the places they have. I could tell the clever from the dunces. Yes, the stuff must be woven for me at once." And he gave the 2 rogues a great deal of cash in hand, that they might begin their work without delay. As for them, they put up 2 looms and made as if they were working, but they had nothing at all on their looms. They at once called for the finest silk and the costliest gold. This they put into their own pockets and worked at the empty looms till late into the night. "I should like to know how far they have got on with this stuff," thought the emperor. But he felt quite uneasy when he thought that one who was stupid or not fit for his office could not see it. He believed, indeed, that he had nothing to fear for himself. Still, he thought, he had better first send someone else to see how matters stood. All the people in the city knew what peculiar power the stuff had, and all were anxious to see how bad or how stupid their neighbors were. "I will send my honest old minister to the weavers," thought the emperor. "He can judge best how the stuff looks, for he has sense, and no one knows his place better than he." Now the good old minister went out into the hall where the 2 rogues sat working at the empty looms. "Mercy on us," thought the old minister, and he opened his eyes wide. "I cannot see anything at all." But he did not say this. Both the rogues begged him to be so good as to come nearer, and asked if the colors and the patterns were not pretty. Then they pointed to the empty loom, and the poor old minister went on opening his eyes, but he could see nothing, for there was nothing. "Mercy," thought he, "suppose I am really stupid. I never thought that, and not a soul must know it. Suppose I am not fit for my office. No, it will never do for me to tell that I could not see the stuff." "You don't say anything of it," said one, as he went on weaving. Oh, it is charming, quite enchanting," said the old minister, as he peered through his glasses. "What a fine pattern! What colors! Yes, I shall tell the emperor that I am very much pleased with it." "Well, we are glad of that," said both the weavers, and then they named the colors and explained the strange pattern. The old minister listened closely, that he might be able to repeat it when he came to the emperor, and he did so. Now the rogues asked for more money and silk and gold. They wanted it all for weaving. They put all into their own pockets, and not a thread was put upon the loom, but they kept by it as before, and wove at the empty loom. The emperor soon sent again another housed officer of the court to see how the weaving was going on, and if the stuff would soon be ready. Well, he fared just like the first. He looked and looked, but as there was nothing to be seen but the empty looms, he could see nothing. "Is not that a pretty piece of stuff?" asked the two rogues, and they showed and made clear the handsome pattern, which was not there at all. "I am not stupid," thought the man. It must be my good office, for which I am not fit. That would be queer enough, but I must not let it be noticed." And so he praised the stuff which he did not see, and said how pleased he was with the beautiful colors and the charming pattern. Yes, it is enchanting," he told the emperor. All the people in the town talked of the gorgeous stuff. Now, the emperor wished to see it himself while he was still upon the loom, with a whole crowd of chosen men, among whom were also the two honest statesmen who had already been there. He went to the two cunning rogues who were weaving with might and main without fibre or thread. "Is not that splendid?" said the two honest statesmen. "Does your majesty see what a pattern it has, and what colors?" And then they pointed to the empty loom, for they thought that the others could see the stuff. "What's this?" thought the emperor. "I can see nothing at all. This is terrible. Am I stupid? Am I not fit to be emperor? That would be the most dreadful thing that could happen to me." "Oh, it is very pretty," he said aloud. "It has my highest approval." And he nodded in a contented way and gazed at the empty loom, for he would not say that he saw nothing. The whole crowd whom he had with him looked and looked, but they got nothing more out of it than all the rest. But like the emperor, they said, "Oh, that is very pretty." And they begged him to have some clothes made of this new pretty stuff, and to wear them for the first time in the great procession that was to take place. "It is splendid, excellent," went from mouth to mouth, and they all were like one person in the way they talked. The emperor gave each of the rogues a ribbon to wear in his buttonhole, and gave them the title of imperial court weavers. The whole night before the morning on which the procession was to take place, the rogues were up, and kept more than 16 candles burning. The people could see that they were hard at work upon the emperor's new clothes. They made believe take the stuff down from the loom, and they made cuts in the air with great shears. They sewed with needles without thread, and at last they said, "Now the clothes are ready." The emperor came himself with his noblest cavaliers, and the two rogues lifted up one arm as if to see they were holding something, and said, "See, here are the trousers, here is the coat, here is the cape," and so on. It is as light as a spider's web. One would think one had nothing on, but that is just the beauty of it. "Yes," said all the cavaliers, but they could not see anything, for there was nothing. "Will your imperial majesty be so good as to take off your clothes?" said the rogues. "Then we will put on you the new clothes here in front of the great mirror." The emperor took off his clothes, and the rogues pretended to put on him each new robe as it was ready. They wrapped him about, and they tied, and they buttoned, and they worked hard, and the emperor turned round and round before the mirror. "Oh, how well they look! How nicely they fit!" said all. "What a pattern! What colors! That is a splendid dress!" "They are standing outside with the canopy which is to be borne above your majesty in the procession," said the headmaster of the ceremonies. "Well, I am ready," replied the emperor. "Does it not suit me well?" And then he turned again to the mirror, for he wanted it to look as if he saw all his finery. The chamberlains who were to carry the train stooped down with their hands towards the floor, just as if they were picking up the train. Then they held it up in the air. They did not dare to let it be seen that they could see nothing. So the emperor went in procession under the rich canopy, and all the people in the streets and at the windows said, "How fine the emperor's new clothes are! What a train he has to his mantle! How well it fits him!" No one would let it be seen that he could see nothing, for that would be shown that he was not fit for his office, or is very stupid. No clothes of the emperor's had ever had such a success as these. "But he has nothing on," said a little child. "Mercy on us! Just hear that innocent voice," said his father, and one whispered to another what the child had said. "He has nothing on. There's a little child here says he has nothing on." "That's so! He has nothing on," said the whole people at last. That touched the emperor, for it seemed to him that they were right. But he thought within himself, "I must go through with the procession." And so he held himself a little higher, and the chamberlains marched and carried the train. But there was no train.